Hello everyone, today I want to share with you a strange, beautiful scale, maybe one of the most mysterious ones in the world, and one that the more you try to understand, the more elusive it becomes. It will drive you crazy if you let it, and it's called the harmonic major scale. But fear not, by the end of this video, we will crack this sneaky little scale wide open, and you'll be able to add it to your toolbox. We're going to dive pretty deep, so grab your guitar and let's begin. The harmonic major scale looks easy on paper, but has a very disconcerting sound, so we'll have to tackle it from a few angles and put it in perspective so you can learn it better. But first things first, let's give it a listen. You can hear how this scale feels as if it's walking more than one path at once, and you think you might have it figured out. You hear the first few notes, and then it takes a turn, and then you say, okay, well, I can wrap my ear around that, and then it takes another turn. And this happens both ascending and descending. You quite don't know how to grab it. And that's kind of the deal with the harmonic major scale. So let's look at the formula and try to make some sense out of this scale. As we said earlier, on paper at least, the harmonic major scale is a very simple scale and very straightforward. It's basically a major scale with a flat 6. So in the key of C, we would have C, D, E, F, G, A flat, and B. As you can see, we have this augmented second interval between the minor 6th, A flat, and the major 7th, B. This will certainly remind you of the same interval in the harmonic minor scale, again between the 6th and the 7th. If you need a bit of a refresher on your harmonic and melodic minor scales, I'll make sure to post a link at the end of the video for you to check out. This comparison to the harmonic minor could be our first attempt to make sense of the harmonic major scale. And after all, this is what the name implies. It's a harmonic minor scale with a major third. But the truth is that bundling together major and minor scale is not very useful because their applications are so different. And actually, despite the fact that they only have a one-note difference between them, the harmonic minor and the harmonic major are sound-wise worlds apart. Let's listen to them. Another thing we could focus on is this little series of 4 notes here, the E, F, G, and A flat. It's basically 2 half steps separated by a whole step. And this is something that appears in both the harmonic and melodic minor scale and their modes. So we could try to draw a parallel between the harmonic major and some of these other scales. For example, the Phrygian dominant scale, which is the 5th mode of the harmonic minor scale, has a lot of notes in common with the harmonic major. And a variant of it is called the Phrygian major scale, has even more notes, 6 out of 7, because we raise the 7th a half step. So they are very close. Another one would be the Mixolydian flat 6, which is a mode of the melodic minor scale, and that goes like this. Again, 6 out of 7 notes are the same, and these are very well-rounded, well-defined scales. They're easy to grasp, so maybe we can use these to try and make sense of the harmonic major scale. But the problem is that as soon as we change these scales into the harmonic major scale, the single note that requires change destroys and deprives them of their descriptive sound. Phrygian dominant or Phrygian major are only Phrygian because of the flat second, of the minor second, and we have to make that note natural to make it harmonic major. So this becomes this. And it has nothing to do with the original sound. The same with the Mixolydian flat 6. This note here, the flat 7, is the note that makes Mixolydian mixolydian, and we need to change it to a natural seventh, to a B, to make it harmonic major. And therefore, it ceases to be mixolydian. We could have changed many of the other 6 notes with lesser or at least survivable consequences, but not these. The harmonic major scale really just stands there by itself, and comparing it to other scales and grouping it with other scales simply is not helpful. It's a very slippery sounding scale. It's like grabbing a fish made of soap, so maybe we're just better off learning it on its own. That isn't to say, of course, that we wasted our time exploring those other scales, because the harmonic major scale is actually a scale you wouldn't really use on its own very often. You would combine it and intertwine it with the aforementioned ones, or even others, such as the major scale itself. In order to truly understand a scale, nothing is as useful as harmonizing it and seeing what chords come up. As a matter of fact, I personally see scales as chords more often than I see them as sequences of notes. So let's build some chords on the harmonic major and see what happens. We will get C major, D diminished, E minor, F minor, G major, A flat augmented, and B diminished. This is a very interesting series of chords. If we compare them to the ones of our regular major scales, which are C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. There are some very interesting chord pairings here. For example, E minor to F minor, as opposed to the regular E minor F. Also, F minor to G is very interesting. We have now a whole step with the minor and the major. That doesn't usually happen in diatonic harmony, and so on. So it's very interesting, and this might be the whole idea of the harmonic major scale, to suggest strange chord progressions. I certainly look at scales in this way very often, and the other thing is that because, as I said, we wouldn't use probably this scale for a whole composition or a whole song, we can just take little spots here and there to give it this very strange and hard to define flavor. But just as you thought that this finally makes sense, here's something interesting. If I were to call the A flat the minor sixth, G sharp, same sound, just a different name, and therefore imply an augmented fifth, now the first chord C could actually be C augmented. It could be either one or the other, or both of them in combination. The third chord, E minor, could now be E major thanks to the G sharp, again, by themselves or combined. I mean, we could even call it E augmented if we wanted to, because we could look at the C as a B sharp. So you can certainly go crazy, and there's just no way that this scale gets any simpler. But at least on the fretboard, the harmonic major scale is actually pretty easy. After all, if you know your major scales, all you have to do is lower the third. Here again is a position for you with the root on the 6th string, and you can use this, of course, in all keys by simply moving it around. For those of you on my Patreon, which I just launched, by the way, and of course you're all invited, I will give you all 5 positions of the harmonic major scale so that you can play it all over the fretboard, along of course with all the other assets from this video. And finally, to conclude this video, and I did warn you in the beginning that we were going to dive deep, this harmonic major scale will have its own modes. Now the good news is that because it's so similar to a regular major scale, the modes will be slight variations on the regular diatonic modes. And here they are. The first one is, of course, the harmonic major. Then we would have the Dorian flat 5, the Phrygian flat 4, Lydian minor, Mixolydian flat 2, Lydian augmented 2nd, Locrian diminished 7th, or double flat 7. These modes are extremely interesting, but maybe some other time. I think we'll better leave them for another video, but if you want to learn them, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see what I can do. As you learn more and more things, it becomes very important to really make the most out of your practice time, and here's a video you should watch that will really help you with that. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful, and I would love for you to like and subscribe, and even more importantly, maybe spread the word about this channel if you think it could benefit others as well. Thanks again for being there, and I'll see you in the next video.